Hi everyone, it's Stephanie Klauck here, and I'm super excited to be in the Ellen Hudson classroom today with a fun video sharing a coffee-themed card with a whole lot of sparkle. I thought it would be fun to use the Eau Frappe stamp set. This is one of my absolute favorites, and add a little bit of sparkle to it and make it kind of winter-themed. So to start off, we are going to prepare a little area that we can add some glitter to. So I have some Be Creative tape here. I have a big sheet of it, and I just wanted to show you that it comes in rolls as well. So it just kind of depends how much you need. If you need to use the sheets, which allows you to cut it any size you want, or you can use the rolls, which are a little bit smaller, so they cover a smaller area. So I know that I want to do 2 of the coffee cups, so I decided to just cut a piece out of this sheet here. So I just used my scissors and kind of eyeballed how big I needed it to be, and then I'm very carefully removing the backing from one side, and I'm just going to flip it over and lay it onto a piece of cardstock. So this is a piece of Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock. It's thin enough so it works perfectly to add the glitter on top, and then I'll still be able to stamp and then cut that out with no problem. So I just very carefully adhered that adhesive on there, and now we're going to add some glitter. So this is the Elizabeth Crafts Warm Diamond Glitter, and when I have my glitter, I like to put a little swatch on the bottom of it. Just helps me be able to see what the glitter looks like when I actually use it on a project. And I'm going to apply this to the entire sticky piece here that we've added to the cardstock. So I just have a coffee filter underneath where I'm working just to catch any of the extra glitter. And I used my tweezers just to kind of start that adhesive backing, and I'm going to just dump glitter right on top there. And then I'm going to use my finger and just kind of work that into the adhesive. And when I started off, I didn't pull the whole backing sheet off. That just kind of helps me to be able to hold on to the paper as I move the glitter down. You don't want to put your fingers on the sticky area because it's going to prevent the glitter from sticking really well. So you just kind of want to make sure you have glitter on the sticky area before your finger touches it. And then I'm just going to kind of use my finger and work that glitter in. And then once I have all of it kind of worked in with my fingertip, I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to burnish it in even more. And that just helps to really push that adhesive and the glitter together and make sure that they bond really well and that the glitter stays on there without any coming off when we're finished. And then once I have that fully burnished and I know that the glitter is good and stuck, then I'm just going to go ahead and tap the whole piece of paper against the coffee filter to knock any of that excess glitter off. I'm going to use a Swiffer wipe here to wipe off my bone folder, and then I'll use that to quickly wipe off the cardstock piece to take any loose glitter off that's still on there. And then I'll also use it to quickly wipe up my work surface. So now I have this great little glittery piece here that we can do some stamping on. Now I'm going to do stamping, and I'm going to use Copic markers to color these in. So I normally wouldn't use archival ink for Copic markers because it will make the Copics will make the ink bleed. But because I'm stamping on glitter, I want to use a really good permanent ink because otherwise it doesn't dry very well on the glitter. So I find I prefer to use the archival ink to do the stamping and then just very carefully do the coloring with my Copics. This coffee cup image is relatively simple with a lot of open area, so I'm not too worried. I know I'll be able to easily add the Copic coloring without really touching any of the ink from the stamping. So I have a little bit of extra glitter on the side there, so I just use that to kind of test out the markers and figure out which ones I wanted to use. And my plan for the coffee cups is to do them both the same color, and I want them to both be aqua and have kind of an ombre look to them. So I'm starting with my lightest aqua marker. And when I color on glitter, I like to use the brush end of my Copic marker, and I like to use the side of it. So you can see there I have it kind of laying right on its side. And I kind of like to tap the marker. I don't really color per se. I don't kind of move the marker like I normally would if I'm coloring. I kind of just tap it over the glitter, and it easily applies the color, and it just helps to prevent any damage to the tip of my Copic marker. I've never had any problems with any of my tips damaging, so as long as you kind of take your time and just very carefully add the Copic coloring, then I've never had a problem, so it should work fine. And what I did is I just started with the lightest color first, and then I added the medium color in the center, and then I added the darkest color at the bottom. And then I kind of just used a swiping motion from the bottom up with the darkest color to kind of blend those colors in and make sure I didn't have any lines where the colors kind of change from one to the other. And then I'm just going to repeat the exact same process with the second cup here. I'm just going to start with the lightest color, work my way to the medium and then the darkest, and then just kind of use all of the colors together to kind of make sure it's really good and blended. Now there is coordinating dies that go with these coffee cups, but I decided to just cut them out right along the stamped line. So I'm just using my scissors and I'm just going around this image and completely cutting these cups out. It didn't take very long at all because it's a very simple image, so I just kind of went around and got them all cut out. And then when I finished the cutting, I also added a little bit of black magic marker to the outside edges of the coffee cups, just to kind of cover up the core area of the cardstock piece. And then you can see I was left there with two glittery, sparkly, beautiful aqua coffee cups. So now we want to make them a little bit winter themed. So I'm taking a couple of snowflakes, and these are from the Season to Sparkle stamp set. And I'm just stamping these with Versamark ink onto a little scrap of white cardstock. And then I'm going to add some silver sparkle embossing powder to both of these snowflakes. I did use the two different snowflakes that come in the stamp set. I was going to use the same one, but I decided to mix it up and use both of the little images. So I stamped them and heat embossed them, and now they're going to fit perfectly onto the middle area there on my coffee cups. So now I'm just kind of gathering the rest of the supplies to finish the card. So I have a Lawn Fun paper pack here, and I'm just picking out a plaid paper that kind of goes nicely with the coffee cups and has kind of like a Christmas look to it, but also just a winter look to it. So it's a perfect kind of design to use during the holidays, but also during the winter. And I just kind of cut that down into a thin strip, and I'm adding that to the side of my card base. And then I'm just going to use my scissors to cut off the excess. And then I'm going to add a panel to the top of this, which is going to cover part of that and just leave a little bit of that plaid showing on the side. Before I add the panel to the card front and assemble the card, I decided I wanted a little bit more texture and a little bit more shimmer. So I have taken this Speckles stencil from Tim Holtz, and I'm also using my Dreamweaver Pearl embossing paste. This is a really fun embossing paste because it kind of has a shimmer to it, and it's kind of an off-white. So you can kind of see there a little bit, the little bit of shimmer that it has. And I just think it adds a really fun detail, and I thought this worked perfectly to go behind the cups so it wasn't a completely plain stark white card. So I'm going to let that dry, and while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment that we're going to use on the card. So I'm using the Merry & Bright stamp set to stamp out my sentiment. I couldn't decide what size banner I wanted there, so I ended up going with the shorter one. And I just went ahead and stamped Warmest Holiday Wishes onto the banner with black ink. I thought that went perfectly with the coffee cups. And now I have kind of everything ready to go. I can start to adhere the card. So my panel piece here is fully dry now, so I added adhesive to the back of that, and I just adhered it to the card front. And now I'm going to use my liquid glue pen to add a little bead of glue down the side of that panel so that I can add my very thin strip of silver sparkle cardstock. You can use anything you want here. I just like something that kind of separates the panel from the pattern paper on the side. And of course, I love glitter, so I figured why not add a little bit more glitter to this already very glittery, sparkly card. So now I have that on there, I can go ahead and put the focal point on the card. So I tucked one of the coffee cups in behind the sentiment banner, and I adhered both of those to the card. I used my T-square ruler to make sure that they were straight. And then for my second coffee cup, I added a small piece of foam adhesive to the back just to kind of give this one a little bit of dimension. And I'm adhering that directly over top of that sentiment strip there. And then to finish up the card, I just added the two snowflakes to the coffee cups, and then I also added some clear sequins to the card front. And then I thought the snowflakes needed a little bit more dimension, so I used a couple of doodlebug sprinkles here, and I'm just adding those to the center area of the snowflakes. And now I have this great fun winter themed card with sparkle on the coffee cups, on the strip on the side, on the snowflakes. I have some shimmer embossing paste. I just have a whole lot of fun sparkle happening on this card. So thank you so much for joining me for today's video, and I hope to see you again soon.